Welcome to my bedroom, and this is my tour of my condo through books. No, not anything crazy, but my bedside book right now is a book about Monroeville, Alabama, the hometown of Harper Lee. I picked it up a few summers ago and stashed it away, found it, and decided I need to read it. So that's one of many books that I have in my house. I've got a big shelf in my bedroom where I keep my Bible and some religious books, some spiritual books, and old notebooks that I've filled up with my creative writing and English students, and then some dictionaries and some little golden books from my childhood that I spirited away from my parents' house before my sister could grab them. And then up here in my loft, we have Lois. She is not a book, but she's very sweet and cute. And the bed is out from the couch for extra lounging from last night. Then I've got another bookcase up here in the loft. Got the old high school diploma up here on the very top from Holdenville. Little bitty diploma. A warning to you high school students, you're not going to have your diploma on graduation day when you get your little case. That comes later. And mainly the books up here on this shelf are books that I was required to buy for college, for undergrad, or for master's. Some of them I have taught, but no longer, like in middle school. When I taught middle school, I taught The Weston Game and The Giver. And I've got a few other books, like I did a read aloud of this book, My First Year of Teaching, by Eve Bunting, Nasty Stinky Sneakers. It's probably a book for second or third graders. And I read this aloud to 7th or 8th graders because I read about it in the English journal, and some teacher had an activity where they had students doodle while they read this book aloud. But my students hated it because they were already pretty decent readers by that time. That was not really helpful to them, so I apologize for that. I've got a signed copy of a Billy Collins poetry book here, and I don't want to keep that in my classroom library, so that's up here. I've got more books from past teaching, like Secret Life of Bees. I no longer teach that. I no longer teach these books, so I don't want them cluttering the bookshelves in my classroom. I got this book from a teacher friend of mine who retired, The Magus. Still haven't read it. I'll read it someday, Vicky. This next shelf, I've got some classics and some professional titles recommended to me by fellow teacher friends, and then just good old school, The First Days of School by Harry Wong. Use that a lot the first couple years of teaching to get ready. More classics, lots of Dover thrift editions. And you know what? This memoir is pretty funny. It's about a guy who retires early and goes down and lives in a retirement home and writes about it. And he's about 30. So I think I'll take that to the classroom. The bottom shelf, we've got some Shakespeare and some old anthologies. The David McCullough John Adams book, which I intend to read someday, and quite a few Sherman Alexie books, and a Jodi Picoult book that I started but have not finished yet. And then Reef Larson's very cool book, The Selected Works of T.S. Spivet, which I still haven't finished. So, let's go downstairs. There are more books to be had. Lois has moved. Hi, Lois. You gonna wag your tail for us? You gonna wag your tail? Oh, baby girl, so sweet. Yes, she is. Yeah. Yes. Good girl. Oh, pictures. So let's go downstairs. Downstairs in the condo. And we'll go to the guest bedroom. I've got a little bookshelf over here where I've stored books I have not read. I don't want them on public display, so they're just in here whenever I'm going to get to them. some novels in verse that I heard about over the summer, somewhere online, and bought a lot of them on Amazon for cheap, so they're waiting to be read. Here's another book stack, Eleanor and Park. I know it's going to be a big hit. I should probably just have a student read it before I get to it. It's going to be a while probably. Some collections of poetry down here, along with Football for Dummies, because if you put a gun to my head and asked me what a quarterback did, I would pee my pants and get the answer wrong. So someday I'm going to learn a little bit more about football. Like I know what a quarterback does. See, I know some things. Down here on the bottom left corner, we've got a David Sedaris book, his newest, and Rita Zepetti's Out of the Easy, which I want to read, and Salt, Sugar, Fat, which could complement Fast Food Nation when I teach that in the spring. So there's those books. And then over here in the closet, we've got the literature edition that I use for teaching. I should probably get that out and review some Antigone. I've got some silly books that I snatched from the Deer Creek High School library that our librarian weeded and got rid of, like this book about cats, which will be a hilarious prank. And then I got this book at the library sale, Friends of the Library sale, called Eunice Gottlieb and the Unwhitewashed Truth About Life. I mean, look at that. That's awesome. I almost kind of want to read it instead of just giving it away as a joke. And then I've got some children's books like mostly Monsterly and Olivia and the Little Red Hen and the Little Shy Little Kitten to give away as gifts to my friends' children. They're all having kids these days. And then here in the downstairs living room, I've got a few more areas for books. I've got to show off this painting from Spain from the summer. Okay, so this built-in, I use one of the shelves for showing off some books. Mainly they're pretty, and I've read all of them. So this is a shelf of books that I've read that I have not put in my classroom library. And so it's books by like Alfie Kohn, comic strip collections with Mutts and Cul-de-sac and Get Fuzzy. This book is more for like elementary kids, and I had it in my classroom library at one point but decided to remove it because it wasn't for the target audience. And then I've got some Harry Potter books from England. This was one of the few books I read in junior high that I remember reading, The Secret of Van Rieck's Cellar, and I think I got that at the Friends of the Library book sale. I saw that and just had to get it. We the Animals is very well written. It's finely crafted, but it's just too intense, I think, for my high school students to read. So it stays here. And Winesburg, Ohio is one of my favorite classics I read when I was an undergrad. And love Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Got this hardcover edition of TCAM without any annotations. My annotated one is in my classroom. Got some Lois Lowry going on here. Really like Kent Harif's two books, Eventide and Plainsong. His newest book is in the other room, and I'll read that sometime soon. And just a few more. And then over here is my little reading nook, my reading corner. So we've got my rocking chair that I inherited from my dad, who got it from his dad or grandpa or someone. And then two hanging bookshelves. My grandpa made these. One of them was my sister's, but she gave it to me. And so this shelf, we've got just more books that I've bought and haven't read. These are mainly poetry books on this shelf, and YA books up here. Some Ron Corge, and looks like some Barbara Kingsolver as well. So not all YA. The top shelf up here, we've got Khaled Hosseini's newest book, which I need to read, and Behind the Beautiful Forevers, and The Boy Kings of Texas, which I heard about on NPR. And we've got mainly YA. Looks like we got some Sin and Syntax going on. Could use that in creative writing. And I've started How Children Succeed and Blue Plate Special at one time. So I'll read those eventually. All these I will read, right? I'm going to read them all. And then down here is my little table. And I've got some books that I've started. I'm in about a third of the way, maybe almost halfway. third, through Divergent. I'm reading on Winger, which I really like. I like that the back is like the front, but illustrated. I've started Codename Verity, only a little bit, but I like it so far. It's kind of confusing. It's kind of tough, but I think I can handle it. And then I've got a book somewhere. Oh, more poetry. Richard Blanco, he read at Obama's inauguration. Joy Harjo's classic, she had some horses, some Rumi poetry, and then the newspaper blackout poetry. Somewhere, I think I took it into the guest bedroom. I bypassed it. Yeah, I took it in here while I was working on something. This is what I'm reading right now. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. So, was hoping to be further along by this point on Labor Day, but I will finish it today. By tonight. By midnight. Anyway, thanks for touring my condo through books, and I hope you all had a good time. Talk to you later.